Good morning, good afternoon, good day. Today we're going to talk about communication, as you can see on the screen. It is week 4, and I am Colin Parks, working at Serenity House. I hope you remember me. It is week 4. We've spent some time together, but it's okay. No, it's not okay. No, I'm just kidding. All right, let's jump into review. Let's review so the content is still fresh in our memory. It is really easy to forget some information after short breaks or especially sleeping in between. So what did we learn last week? Emotions. Yes, that is correct. Last week's goal was to understand what emotions are while being able to be self-aware. It's an important skill which does not come easily for all of us. That is completely okay. We identified emotions and even talked about ways to manage those emotions. I want to give the class about 30 seconds to say some strategies out loud. The ones that you remember. I will review those strategies following the timer. So 30 seconds for everyone to say the strategies that we learned last week out loud, the healthy strategies. Go ahead. We have all sorts of ways to cope with our emotions or to build our strength in recognizing and handling ourselves. Some healthy strategies can be to talk to a trusted adult or friend, just like we talked about last week. It is important to do so, talking things out so it doesn't build up inside of us. Make sure it's someone that you can trust. That can be family members, grandparents, cousins, and even our most beloved friends. Count to 10, play outside, or even a fun hobby. Reading is a great example. Reading can get you out of your own head into different stories depending on what you like. A few more can be getting a hug from a loved one. That's always nice and warm. A deep breath, or even to use some artistic abilities like drawing. I know we all talked about those last week, but it's good to review just so we know what we have under our tool belt. Now that we have reviewed last week's lesson, we can move on to a new topic. How does that sound with everyone? Me? Sounds great. Awesome. Let's move on. A big part of managing our emotions is to talk it out. So we're talking about communication this week. Or in other words, letting others know how you feel. Today we're going to learn about how to communicate with others. Who's excited? I am. I hope you are. I know this lesson may be a bit easier in person, but we are going to use the tools that we have, especially since the class is together, even though I'm not there. It's okay. Let's start by understanding communication. What is communication? That can be, you're probably saying out loud right now, talking, emailing, texting. All of those are good examples. Communication is the sending and receiving of information between two or more people so the message can be understood. We communicate in many ways using words that include speaking, writing, texting, and emailing. The speaker sends a message and the listener receives that message. For example, if I talk to you, who is the speaker? I would be at the moment. Who is listening? You are. Suppose I call you on the phone and you do not answer. Instead of talking to you, I talk to your voicemail. Is that communication? No. Why not? Well, there's no listener. I would just be talking. Talking and communicating are not the same things. If you listen to a message in French, is that communication? No. Well, unless you understand French. In order to receive a message, the listener has to understand the message. When we use the word communication, we usually think of communication with words. However, we can communicate without using words. How does that look? How do we communicate without using words? Your hands can be an example, which I do all the time. Facial expressions, you can tell if I'm mad or if I'm happy, right? Body language. You can shrug your shoulders. And what does that usually mean? I don't know. You may have said that out loud. I hope you have. You can say a lot without speaking at all. For example, I just shrugged my shoulders and you knew exactly what I was meaning. You can send a message with body language or facial expressions, Enhance. Most messages without words require you to see them, so that usually we have to look at the person speaking to us to understand what he or she is communicating. Nonverbal communication often says more than a person's words do. Have you ever heard of a picture says 1,000 words? Usually a lot more than what I would say. Let's take a closer look at how nonverbal communication works. Open your workbooks to page 12 to the section titled Communication Styles. In this activity, you will identify 3 communication styles. Each of the 3 styles has its own set of nonverbal characteristics, which include tone of voice, facial expressions, or eye contact, all right, and body language. Before we start, let's review these characteristics. Who would like to read the 3 tones of voice? All these volunteers. I guess I will. Firm, loud, and soft. Very good. What about the 3 facial expressions? I'll read it again. It's okay. Angry, fearful, and calm are the 3 facial expressions. Who can read the 3 levels of eye contact? Me again? Okay. Glaring, looks away, look the other person in the eye. Well, finally, let's read the different expressions of body language. Confident, timid, and intense. Now that we all know all of the different styles and our answers that we're going to be giving to the boxes, you are going to identify the 3 different communication styles by organizing these nonverbal characteristics into groups. Some of the answers have been done for you. Let's complete the first one together. This style uses a loud tone of voice and an angry facial expression. If someone was using a loud tone of voice and an angry facial expression, how would you describe their level of eye contact? Would it be a lot? You'd probably say glaring. What type of body language might this person have? Intense, maybe? If you've ever seen someone mad or angry, they're probably kind of intense. Write these answers on the appropriate lines and be sure to cross them off in your word bank. These characteristics describe one style of communication. Let's see if you can organize the rest of the characteristics into the other 2 profiles on your workbook, page 12, and we will fill in the My Title and Style section later, okay? So I'm going to give you about 4 minutes to fill out the sections. That was a long 4 minutes. All right. Who would like to share the characteristics you listen in the middle profile? Soft tone of voice, fearful facial expressions, looking away, timid body language. If you had those answers, very good. If not, that's completely fine. Catch up and write them down. Which nonverbal characteristics did you list in the last profile? I listed firm tone of voice, calm facial expression, look the person in the eye, confident body language. Now come up with your own title to describe each group of nonverbal characteristics. Be creative. There's no right or wrong answer. None at all. So make sure you're creative. Write your titles next to the My Title section of each group of characteristics. We will fill in the style in just a moment. I'll give you about a minute to fill in the titles. What did you title the first group of nonverbal characteristics? Mean, disrespectful, hurtful, thoughtless? These are all great titles for that section. You may even have something different, which is great. Write the word aggressive on the line next to the style. Aggressive communicators often use a loud and bossy tone of voice. The use of this tone of voice shows the listener's feelings. What did you title the next group of nonverbal characteristics? Insecure, shy, sad, maybe unsure, are all great titles to describe that speaker. The characteristics in this profile describe the passive speaker. Write the word passive on the style line of the profile box. Passive communicators often use a soft and shaky tone of voice. This tone of voice often makes people think they are unsure of themselves or lack confidence. So, what did you title the last group? A lot of good answers could be respectful, kind, or even thoughtful. The characteristics in this profile describe the assertive speaker. Write the word assertive for style. Assertive communicators use a firm and positive tone of voice. Being assertive shows you are confident in who you are and what you have to say. But it also shows you respect the other person. And that's very important when you're communicating because no one wants to get disrespected. I know I don't. Let's illustrate. So we're going to illustrate the 3 different communication styles. Each of the 3 circles within the profile boxes will represent a portrait of nonverbal communication style. In each circle, you use a stick figure to draw what you think the person's body language and facial expressions would look like when using each style. For example, what do you think confident looks like? Maybe shoulders back, head up? Yes, exactly. Be prepared to demonstrate the cues you draw. And if you take a moment after we're done and do that in class, you can very well do that. It'll be a lot of fun. What does an aggressive speaker's body language and facial expressions look like? The hands on hips, pointing, glaring, and scowling. What does a passive speaker's body language and facial expressions look like? Maybe head down, slouched, maybe hiding a little bit, looking down, no eye contact, definitely not glaring. Now that we know assertive is confident, aggressive is overly confident, and passive is unconfident, which do you think is the most effective and why? Assertive communication is most effective because you are confident in what you are saying. And you are also aware of the other person's thoughts and ideas. That's right. Assertive communicators speak with confidence and respect, which I hope I'm doing. They respect themselves and are aware of the thoughts and ideas of others. When you use this communication style, people will take notice of you, listen to you, and treat you with respect. Those are all good goals. Active listening. We've talked a bunch about communication and communicators, so now let's quickly go over some helpful tips to help you while you're in position to listen. What is the other role in communication? The listener. The listener receives the message from the speaker. To better understand what the speaker is saying, there are a variety of things a listener can do to make sure the message is understood. The listener does all of these things in order to hear and understand everything the speaker is saying. I mean everything. So the first one is maintain eye contact with the speaker. Keeping eye contact makes sure that you're not distracted, that you know what's going on, and that you're focused on learning the information in front of you. Lean in towards the speaker. Just as I'm talking to you, I'm kind of leaning in, showing you that I'm engaged. Focus on what the speaker is saying. By doing the first two tips of active listening, you will knock this one out of the park. So don't even worry about it. If you're doing the first two, you're good. Repeat what the speaker is saying. That could be in your head or even writing it down, taking notes, which I hope you're doing throughout all the lessons. And ask clarifying questions, and that can be a really important part. If you're not understanding, I don't want you to assume or guess. I want you to be on the same page that I am so that you are understanding and that you're following along with me. Because if I'm telling a story and you are stuck on something, well, you may be back there and the rest of us are up here. And that's completely okay, but I would like you to answer I would like to answer that question just so you can be caught up and be with us as a group. On your workbook, page 12 at the bottom, what are the qualities of a distracted listener? Maybe interrupting the speaker, avoid eye contact, turns away from speaker, focusing on something else. These are all opposite of what active listening is. So that's unhealthy qualities. That's a distracted listener. We try to avoid these qualities, but they tend to happen if you are bored, tired, or even hungry. So make sure you're taking care of yourself so you can perform your best, your 100%. Today, that was a quick lesson. That's it. We learned effective communication styles, qualities, and active listening skills. Easy peasy. Thank you for taking the time to fill in your workbooks and be ready next week to review and to learn more to add to your piles of information that we've been growing. I hope you have a great day and a great week.